Dr. Edith Eger says love is spelled T-I-M-E. Hello, friends. And this week on The Professor Helps, I'm going to talk to you about something that has touched all of us, and that's death. So, a friend of mine who was the kind of friend who would drop everything if you needed her. She also never met an animal that she didn't want to get adopted. And she would take them in if she had to for people to adopt. And she was this wonderful soul. And she died this week. And we were the kind of friends that you could pick up wherever you left off. And I'm grateful to have those kind of friendships with people. But one of the reasons that I am bringing this up is because a couple of times lately I have seen people who have passed, whether it's from COVID or cancer, cancer, by the way. I do my very best not to curse on social media because I want to be accessible to as many people as possible. But really, truly, just screw cancer. It is just horrible and it's hideous and awful, and it knows no boundaries, and it's awful. And one of the reasons that I'm talking about this is because in the Jewish culture, they have a saying, may their memory be a blessing. And I really like that. Something you see a lot of people say is, I'm so sorry for your loss. Or I'm sorry that you're going through this. And the truth is that while that's very sweet, it doesn't seem action-based. I think the thing that I'm trying to take away from this is, I always meant to go get coffee with her. We were talking about it, and we hadn't gone to get coffee for a couple of years. Now, I could spend some time blaming COVID. I could spend some time blaming my busy schedule last year, the fact that we were all dealing with the new normal and just kind of be at survival level. Nobody was heading to thrive. But I also know that if Colette was here, the first thing she would say is, PJ. She used to call me PJ, and it stands for Princess Jennifer. And she was one of the first people to ever call me Princess. And that's after a lifetime of being told that I wasn't enough and I wasn't good enough. She was one of the first people to really recognize the joy and wonder that is me. And so she was PC and I was PJ. And she said, she would probably say if she was here, PJ, don't even worry about it. You're the kind of friend that, we could have picked up right where we left off. And last year when she got diagnosed with cancer, they believed that they had caught it early enough and that she was going to be fine. And I don't think that had an effect on my decision to reach out. I reached out. We tried a couple of times to get together. It just didn't happen. And I guess the message I really want to talk about today is that, of course, you can't spend all your time trying to catch up with people in case they might die. But I guess the biggest thing that I want you to come away with is don't let a we should become now will never. I'm pretty famous in my circle of friends for saying, hey, let's get lunch. And a lot of people use it as a placeholder in conversation. I'm actually serious about it. I'll take my calendar out and be like, okay, so what day works for you? I'm doing this. Okay, what about you? And it took me a long time to realize that a lot of people use it as a placeholder. They don't actually mean, hey, let's get together. And one of the things about the last year is that kind of went away because people don't make plans to do things because you can't go out, you can't go anywhere, can't do anything. So, we've adjusted. We've made plans to do things on Zoom. We do things from 12 feet away with masks. There's a lot of things that my friends have done and I have done to make efforts to be together. And of course, you can't be there for everybody. But I guess the real message today is don't let we should become now will never. Because now I'm left with regret that there was something else that I could have done, that I could have brought her some peace or comfort in her last couple of days. And she was surrounded by a lot of people. And again, PC would be the first person to say, PJ, don't worry about it. It is absolutely not a lack of love. It's a lack of time. But then I think about that Edith Eger definition, which is the way she defines love is Time. And even if your love language is not quality time or time spent, which actually it's not my first love language, it's one of them. But my first love language is actually words of appreciation. So in that way, Colette really loved me well by calling me Princess Jennifer. So what I want to leave you with today, as you walk into your day and you figure out what your next steps are going to be. I know as people are getting vaccinated, they're getting, a little bit freer with how they're moving about and making plans, which I think is awesome. Make sure that you reach out to that person you've been thinking about. Like when I'm talking, you're thinking about somebody you need to reach out to. Just do it. Just send them a text message. I know it's a little bit early, but send them a text message. I would tell you to call them out of the blue, but apparently that seems to be not the way to do this because people think that someone has died. And we'll talk about that on another post. But this specifically, if there is somebody you are thinking of right now, send them a text message. Even go old school and send them a card. That'll probably last longer and mean more. But the text message is a good start. And I think that the biggest thing is just do your very best to make sure we should doesn't become now will never. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my message. I do a weekly message every week in aid of inspiring you, motivating you, frustrating you. Mostly though, I really want to help people live their best life. And part of that is inspiring you to do something. So if I have inspired you, go ahead and drop me a comment and tell me about it. It could be simple. You inspired me to go take a walk today, or you inspired me to send somebody a text message. I want to know that this is landing on you. I thank you in advance. Please go ahead and subscribe. This is a message I do every week. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the professor. This is the Professor Helps, and I'm the professor. Signing off.